Just past, I'm still in a cast. Hello everybody and welcome to another studio session. Today we're doing something different. I started this series to be able to work on my albums that I had on my hard drive rotting away for many years now. And what ended up happening is that I started just making a lot of music that's not related to any of the albums, and today we're about to change it. So today we're working on a song from an album that I started in 2020. It's a Psybient album. It's supposed to be very chill, very spacey, just something to kick back, relax, close your eyes and just drift away. So because of the time gap between then and now, a lot of stuff has happened in between. And a good example of that is the fact that my laptop on which I started writing this album died. And I had some backups made, but I didn't account for particular folders, so I had a bunch of files missing, and I wasn't really able to work on those projects. But thanks to my friend, which I will call Belgian Waffleman, he did some dark magic. He revived the hard drive for a while. He was able to copy all the files, and because of that, I'm now able to work on those projects. Some files are still missing, but it's not that big of a deal. It's just some sample libraries. Most of the stuff that I recorded myself is still in there. Alright, so I had to put on a sweater because living in Norway is very unpredictable. One moment you're being boiled alive and the other moment you're freezing to death in your own home. You never know what's going to happen. But anyway, the track lacked drums when I opened it, so I just deleted the drum track. I put down a hi-hat and a little percussive layer. Those elements right now are just placeholders. I'm definitely going to go back and fit them together better when I have more context to the track. Right now, it's just a simple skeleton of an idea. So right now, I'm going to look for kick and snare. I remember that I really liked this sample pack. Okay, that snare is not what I had in mind, but also it kinda works, so I'm just going to add it. Okay, and now I'm going to duplicate it again, and I'm going to add one more kick over here. Right now, I'm not really focusing on mixing. I try to make things sound as good as possible for now, but everything is a placeholder up until the final stages of songwriting. Right now, I'm trying to zone in on the creative flow and generate as many ideas as possible with little to no regard to how it sounds in the mix, unless something really jumps out at me and really bothers me. I just don't address it. I try to generate as many ideas as possible, and then later on I pick the best ideas, make sure they sit well in the mix, and then I'm troubleshooting all those different issues. But right now it's all about capturing as many ideas as possible. Okay, so focusing on this a little bit, I'm not really the biggest fan of the echo. Okay, so we created a small plate reverb. I'm going to create a new track, and I'm going to send the same chord into it, and I'm going to put here a delay plugin. I'm going to take everything from here, I'm going to highlight it, create a region, I'm going to move it over somewhere far away where it doesn't really get in the way, and I'm going to copy it over, remove this one. Let's remove the bass, and here is where I pick up my bass guitar. Alright, so now face cam turns into bass cam. I'm going to just play around and improvise a little bit. So I recorded a few variations of the bass line, And I tightened up the groove a little bit, did some light compression and fixed the timing on the pad. I'm realizing that I probably will do a lot of stuff off camera because those sessions are not necessarily short, and it would be very difficult to dig through 10, 15, 20 hours of footage just to edit a video for YouTube. This format is still very new to me, so I just have to figure out a way how to do it, what to film, what to discard, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'll just figure it out as I go. And yeah, we can start arranging the track a little bit because that may give us some more ideas. So I'm just going to move those regions over. I think that this could start the track pretty well. Like the first drop of the bass and the drums when everything comes in. But the thing is that we need to contextualize it before we can introduce it. So, okay, how about taking this pad and making it quite long. Let's render it to a new take. I'm going to put it on a new track. I'm going to normalize it, and then I'm going to cut out some of it. I'm going to stretch it like that. I'm going to use the algorithm because it's really good for stretching melodic parts. Maybe even stretch it some more. And now I'm going to duplicate it and going to reverse it, and maybe something like this. And now I'm going to do some pitching. So let's hear how that sounds an octave lower. Already sounds quite nice, so I'm going to get rid of that for now and just duplicate it like this. I'm going to automate the dry signal. I'm going to create an automation item so I can copy and paste it quite easy. Or instead of playing with automation, I could just create a new track and copy this exact pad. I don't really need that envelope right now. And I could have control over both of them separately. So this one could be thinned out a little bit. And we could, for example, put some delay on it. Let it be reverse forward, normal. How about 116? Not really. Okay, so I worked a little bit on the pad and I started playing around with what else I could add to the intro. So I added the same pad that's playing this part. Right now it has a delay on it because I'm experimenting, and I found out that a lot of cool stuff happens when I mess with the delay. So right now I'm just setting up a longer loop so I can record a lot of variations with me playing with the delays, then isolate it and basically turn it into a lot of psychedelic sounds that will periodically appear and disappear. So right now I have a lot of different sounds on one track. I'm still going to edit them and fit them into the track, but for now I'm still focused on the intro. So right now I'm just going to pick some of those sounds, place them in the intro, and use the rest somewhere later on. Okay, I kinda like that. It's a little bit wild, but it might work. And let's try putting a convolution reverb on it with one of my impulses. I made them a long time ago, they're not really good, but sometimes they lead to pretty cool, unexpected results. That's honestly not too bad. Okay, so I worked on the intro a little bit, and it's by no means done and perfect, but I really like to work in a way where I work on something, then move on to the next section, then to the next section, then I go back and edit, because the more I write, the more context I have to what's going on. So, for example, later on in the song, I might introduce a sound, and it turns out that it works perfectly well in the intro. And I really like being creative in that sort of semi-organized but still disorganized way. So after the intro, I like to drop into the main groove of the track, something that will establish the mood of it and the feel of how the track actually will progress, right? Okay, so it's another day, and this session lasts a little bit longer than I intended, and I already know that it's going to be really painful to edit, so whatever happens on this session is the video. So during the yesterday's session, I added the arpeggio, which was actually placed in the original loop. It sounded like this. So I just drew a note. The arpeggio is going through the Podolsky synth, and yeah, that's where all the magic happens. It happens in the sequencer within the plugin, and yeah, it sounds like this. And then we have this section over here. I took off the snare and the bass and placed the arpeggio on the note B. It's a little bit shorter, closer spaced together. So without any processing, it sounds like this. But I'm planning to put a bunch of effects on it, mangle it a little bit, so it's more engaging, more psychedelic. And yeah, after that we're dropped straight back into the main groove. And we go from there. So let's start by mangling this sound. I'm going to go here, start adding effects, and see what we can figure out. I think this is a good place to break out a new tool that I acquired thanks to the lovely people over on Patreon. I'm going to pull out my second paid plugin, Infiltrator by Devious Machines, and I'm just going to mess around with it. I'm going to loop this section and see what kind of trickery can I accomplish within the plugin. Okay, so I messed around for a few minutes. I came up with some weird stuff going on, and right now I'm just going to basically randomly draw it in and see how this randomness will sound. Let's pull out a delay. Okay, that's cool. Okay, this is getting crazy and I really like where this is heading. Recently, I downloaded a plugin that's called Global Sampler. So right now I'm just going to load it onto this track, and it's going to record everything that I'm doing currently. And now I just drag this, drop this into my project. Let's zoom in on the waveform and let's make sure that the beats actually line up with the grid more or less. Okay, so right now it sounds very chaotic and very disorganized, right? I can remove Infiltrator from this track, and let's put Infiltrator on this track, and I'm going to create some random gates, which I also will put in the sequence mode in the Infiltrator, and that will create some cool rhythmic interchanging patterns that will break up the constant chaos from the resampling. So yeah, let's just start experimenting with it. And now let's put some delay on it. And now I took the mix knob and created an envelope over here, so I can create another way of adding movement to this sequence, and just deciding where I want the gating to appear, where I don't want it at all, and where I want just a 50% of it. So I'm just going to fiddle around with that for a second. And once again, I've pulled up the reverb and I loaded up one of my crappy impulses, and I'm just going to automate the dry level so it disappears right at the end of the chaotic sequence, so it transitions a little bit better into the main groove part. And I also think that I could automate the mix level of the reverb with my crappy impulse, so it's not present at all times, because it muddies up things quite a lot. Okay, so this bass line is not bad. I'm getting some ideas for the guitar in this part, but I would like to time correct it a little bit because it's really sloppy. Now listening to it, I'm wondering how it would sound if I put on a wah effect on it. Doesn't sound half bad, but I would like to have more control over how it behaves. You know what? Right now I'm going to leave it like that, so later on when I come back to this track after a month or 2 or 3 and I don't remember that I wanted a wah on this guitar, it's right there. All I have to do is just figure out how to contextualize it. Looking at the time, I think that I'm going to wrap it up here. I know that this is nowhere near done, and it's probably a very messy video because, like I said, I'm still trying to figure out how to record stuff like this and how to make it engaging and exciting. But even with the pain of editing all of this material, I had a really good time recording, I had a really good time working on the music, and I'm looking forward to making more of those videos. I'm looking forward to actually figuring out how to record them in a more efficient way. And yeah, let me know what you thought of the video in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, it helps with the algorithm, it keeps me motivated. If you wish, check out my Patreon or buy me a coffee, links are in the description. That's it for the video. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you next time. Take care.